All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. You don't know already. This is Amuna, and I pray everybody is doing well. All right. We are back. Greetings and welcome back once again. Listener, click the like and the share and the subscribe button on your way in, okay? Because we are about to, I know it's a little late to some of our subscribers across the pond, but we're about to get into this Marcus really quickly because I said I was coming back. And so praise be to the Creator. I am here for another session. Feel free to let me know how you are doing today. I had a lot going on, so it's a little bit late on this side, but you don't know already. We're going to get it in really quickly. Just to recap, as if we needed to recap. If you're new, you're going to have to check out the playlist because a lot of stuff is going on. I actually said I was going to do a video about who had the more toxic relationship, whether it be Marcus or whether it be Bob, right? And at this time, y'all let me know, number one, because I see some comparisons, but number two, who do you think at this point in time has the more toxic interaction? Is it Marcus or is it Bob? I think Bob, y'all let me know. I have my thoughts on it, but you definitely know who to you has more of a toxic interface. I'm not stalling. I'm just trying to fix something on my side really quickly before we get started. Hold on, let me pull it up. So, welcome to those. Tasha, welcome to the conversation. So, just to recap, yesterday, a lot was going on, and that's an understatement. But nonetheless, Amy hopped her behind right back on the boat. She wrote to all type of administrators so that she could find her way back into America. Marcus claims she came in illegally. Yo, they are petty. They are hashtag petty. Marcus claims she's here by illegal means. Okay. Um, and she's mad that he waited till she was outside of the country to file for divorce. So she's over there doing her thing. They both wrote the president, Calvin Coolidge at the time, telling them about their drama, okay, and their divorce decrees and Supreme Court hearings and how Amy number one wants the president to pardon Garvey so that he could pay her. J. Michelle, welcome. Yes, you made it to a live. Is about to get on and popping so that he can pay her alimony money. So after all of this, Amy is about that bag. Amy is standing on business. Amy says, beyond death do them part. Amy is going till the wheels fall off, and Marcus is here for it. He's from jail. He is calling the shots behind the bars, okay, and getting it done. So if you missed that episode, for sure, check it out. So now we're on page 95, and the appropriate name of the chapter is A Woman's Scorn. It says on April the 8th, 1926, a large group of persons, 12 men, according to the New York Times, plus approximately 15 witnesses, according to other sources, broke, I ain't even gonna let you wait on this one, into Amy's apartment. Y'all want to know Amy's apartment number? 666 St. Nicholas Avenue. Amy, is that why you acting possessed? Because your apartment number was 666 St. Nicholas Avenue in Harlem? So remember when Amy first came, she came with 15 people, 5 moving trucks, and it sounded like a wish list. And three something, 15 people, 5 moving trucks, and three somebodies looking to move out Garvey's stuff, right? She was looking to move out Garvey's stuff, but she got interrupted. Okay. Welcome to those who've just joined us. So now Garvey is returning the favor. And he sends 15 witnesses. Well, no, there's 15 witnesses that Amy's apartment at 666 Nick St. Nick got broken into. This Garvey's raiding party was made up of private detectives and UNIA stalwarts and was under the general direction of Marcus's law firm Cohen and Nagler. They are playing dirty in 1920 odd. I want to them. I don't watch too much TV. I don't know, wasn't even watching too much TV. I don't read too much Napoleon and Josephine because who was behaving in come at the people in country? Come at the people in country and go on. So hold on for me 1 second. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. So Garvey sends a raiding party. It says here, the intruders allegedly found Amy, who by her own protestations was Marcus's legal wife, and suing him for divorce, in a state of undress. So them bust in at the woman's apartment and find her in a state of undress. Furthermore, she was in a compromising position. Yo, Amy, me just start the chapter. And Amy, if Strong and Wrong was a couple, it would be Marcus and Amy number one. How are you suing them or him? And then when I'm busting your apartment, help me. Oh, yes. Furthermore, she was in a compromising position with one Joseph Frazier of 37 West 138th Street, Harlem, a native of British Guiana. Amy had raided Garvey's apartment a year earlier, and once again, as in the case of 1922 divorce, while Amy was away, Garvey was able to use Amy's own tactic against her with a devastating effect. Imagine she filing for divorce and they catching you in a compromising position. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the conversation, Scorpio, Jerry. Welcome everybody who's just joined us. Tasha, J. Michelle, welcome. So she lucky they didn't have cameras back in the day, and we had to rely on the reports. Okay. It said no, Amy, them find Amy with Joseph. Amy gave her side of the story to the weekly New York Amsterdam in time for its edition of a few days later. She had tried to escape the raiding party, but they blocked her exit and took her clothes off. You know what, Amy? I need to breathe. It's too early. I only just read a paragraph. Amy said, no, mom, I think Amy will win. For those who just joined us, I said if I was to do a compare and contrast between Marcus and Bob and his relationships, Bob had more like different people, but Marcus had more like one concentrated madness, you know what I mean? Which makes it like the ongoing saga. Like Bob's is like little mini episodes, but Marcus has a saga, okay? It's like Roots, the next generation up in here. So here now, Amy to the paper. No, I'm not saying they go, you know. They hold me up and thief for my clothes. She must Josephina. Like Josephina Egypt, where Potiphar's wife hold her and take off her clothes. Frazier had only stayed with her because she was ill. In any event, he himself explained he was contemplating asking her to marry him. What? He may get a next proposal too? He says, and furthermore, Amy added for good measure, she was responsible neither to Garvey nor to anyone else for her moral conduct, even though, quote, legally, she was obligated to the self-styled king of Africa, end quote. So how in one breath you're gonna be like, nobody, me not answer to nobody, me, I'm a one woman. And in the next breath, she like run that alimony, Garvey. Ah, bless. Yo, Amy don't disappoint. And further still, she said in an argument that probably upset her Jamaican compatriots, she could not understand an American value system that would brand her behavior immoral. She's walling. She's walling. How are you running around calling Marcus a bigamist or Malchus? You running around calling Malchus a bigamist and running around unwilling to accept calling Amy to an adulteress and saying you're still married, and then when they bust in on you, you gaslight the public to say you don't understand why they're calling your behavior immoral. Miss Garvey was in bed at the time of the interview. Yes, Most High, help me. Who interviewed this lady while she was yo, Jed. Miss Garvey was in bed at the time of the interview, the Amsterdam News reported, and as she condemned the Americans' conception of moral turpitude, she sobbed softly. In turning to her married life, her expression was transformed into bitterness. A telephone call broke her dynamic attack on Garvey and his second wife. Y'all can't see me right now because I'm a little tired, but that pause is me looking at the screen like, what? Thanks to his raiding party, Marcus thought his lawyers was now able to file a countersuit against Amy for divorce on the grounds of adultery. But I thought that he was already divorced. So why did he need to file? If his divorce was valid, hold on, let me back up because both of them, Mrs. Garvey, okay, she was in bed at the time of the interview. They bust in her on a compromising position and she did cock up in a bed with Joseph Frazier. Thanks to his raiding party, Marcus, through his lawyers, was now able to file a countersuit against Amy for divorce on the grounds of adultery. Is that because Marcus already knew his first divorce was invalid, Marcus? The hapless Frazier found himself named as co-respondent. 2 or 3 days later, Amy asked the police at 135th Street Station for protection and complained that Marcus's squad had carried away 15 of the most interesting pages of The Rise and Fall of Marcus Garvey. Did he have the raiding party come in and thief her expose? Did he have the raiding party come in and steal her paperwork that she was writing up? This sounds like something that's going on today. This sounds like some accusations of today that somebody was writing a tell-all and then, their computer and stuff, disappears. Wow. Amy and Frazier also took H.S. Bolin, head of the offending Bolin's National Detective Agency, to court on charge of disorderly conduct. They explained to Magistrate Simpson that they were fast asleep. Oh, no, not ready for this. Queenie, welcome to the conversation. I can't, Joe. This whole page right here, they were fast asleep. So Yeah, man. Yeah, Jerry. Jerry. Garvey, I get on bad. He sent a raiding party. They ran up on Amy. Amy did cock off in a bed with Joe Frazier. And it says Amy and Frazier, that they explained that they were fast asleep and naked in a bed. A change from Amy's earlier account at 3:30 in the morning because they were writing a book. They didn't naked because them didn't write a book. And became exhausted as a result of their literary efforts. Yo, oh my goodness. They cocked off in bed, naked, according to she, because I've written a lot. This scene that she's painting, how did you get here, Amy? How did you get here? I don't know if you could get that tired. It is difficult to imagine how Amy could have expected anyone to believe such a story. That's what I'm saying. The courtroom spectators certainly didn't, as they erupted into peals of laughter. In any case, the magistrate proved unwilling to have his intelligence insulted. He dismissed the case. Poor Frazier dropped out of the record after this. His name was mentioned during the ensuing divorce proceedings, but he presumably ensconced himself deep in a welcome anonymity after his brief and unfortunate entrapment or entanglement, okay, in the glare of Amy's limelight. There is no evidence that he followed up on his desire to ask her in marriage or her hand in marriage. The divorce suit and countersuit came up for hearing on October the 13th, 1926. Amy did not appear, and Marcus once again obtained a divorce judgment against her, this time by default. This is interesting. So he finally does get a legitimate, what seems like a legitimate divorce. Says the divorce suit and countersuit came up for hearing. Remember that hearing she was telling the judge about? It comes up for hearing October the 13th, 1926. Amy did not appear, and Marcus once again obtained a divorce judgment against her, this time by default. Amy's attorney, one Harry A. Captive, appealed the judgment on the grounds that Amy was ill in bed on the day of question and thus could not attend court. The case was rescheduled for the second week in December. Garvey, far away in Atlanta, had hoped that it would not be a jury trial, since a New York jury was likely to be a racist jury. According to the New York Amsterdam News, which covered the case, the suit of Amy's was linked to a divorce proceeding she had begun in 1922. Amy, how you gonna start it? Come all the way back over to press it, write the president about it, and then the day of you were sick? This time around, Garvey relied on his counterclaim of adultery rather than on his Missouri divorce, as he had done in a response in the 1922 proceedings. Amy's lawyer, now Oscar Garrett, proved as easily enough that Garvey had lived with Amy Jakes as man and wife. Clifford Bourne, a former UNIA consul general, and Mrs. Alexander O'Meally, wife of a former UNIA official, testified to this effect. Mrs. O'Meally had once lived as a roomer in Garvey's apartment, and she said she often saw Marcus and Amy Jakes retire at night and emerge from their room the following morning. I thought he said that she was just a tenant, Marcus. Amy's lawyer now, I already read that. On her alleged adultery with Frazier, Amy Ashwood now fabricated an elaborate new explanation. Amy, goodness gracious. What is the new explanation, Amy? Which the New York Amsterdam News reported with great relish. Seemingly unfazed by the dismissal of her case against the Bullen National Detective Agency, she now presented an enhanced version of her argument at that trial. She claimed in the report the reported speech of the paper that on the night of the raid on her apartment, she, quote, was suffering from some illness peculiar to women, which would make the act of which she was accused repulsive and against nature. Help me. She pulled the Rachel. She said she was unclean. She couldn't get up. But before she told the people she was naked and tired because she was writing. Okay, Amy. She spent that evening in bed, she said, discussing, quote, the rise and fall of Marcus Garvey, end quote, with Fraser and a Mr. Cox. Most of the evening discussion centered around chapter 2 of the manuscript, Romantic Foreshadowings of Marcus Garvey. Oh my goodness, Amy. The trio had worked until 2:30, Amy said. She had then invited both men to spend the night. Okay, she got decision-making issues. For she needed someone on hand lest she might need a doctor. Yes, Mosai. Them a doctor? You know what, Amy? There's at this point, I don't know what else to say about you. I don't know what else to say. Mr. Cox declined the invitation, but Fraser accepted and was accommodated in the sitting room. There he remained, according to her new concoction, until Garvey's raiders entered and dragged him into her bedroom. In recalling this incident to a friend many years later, Amy claimed that the intruding party dumped her in her bed, stripped her, and tried with only partial success to do the same to Fraser. According to this account, they then tried unsuccessfully to photograph Amy and Fraser together. They supposedly managed to get a shot of Amy with a towel around her. Amy said it was a setup. Amy said, I frame her and then drag her inside there and set up the scene and then take the picture. Where did she say this at? New York, Amsterdam News. I'm gonna go look for this right now because I can't with you, Amy. Amy said no. On the cross-examination at the trial, Amy ran into some trouble concerning the authorship of The Rise and Fall of Marcus Garvey. She did not know the meaning of some of the words and phrases contained in it and could not tell the sources of some of its poetic quotations. She admitted she had not written all of the manuscript. On redirect examination from her own attorney, she explained that she had furnished the basic data and left much of the rest to a ghostwriter who she paid by the week to do the actual writing. She insisted, however, on having wholly authored the entire chapter of Romantic Foreshadowing of Marcus Garvey. Garvey's lawyer then moved to prove that Amy had in fact written none of the manuscript and that there would be no basis for Fraser to be present helping her write it. Dang, Amy. They call Harlem intellect Hubert H. Harrison of 570 Lenox Ave a surprise witness. He assured the court that he was in fact Amy's literary ghost, and she had written no part of the manuscript whatsoever. Amy paid him $30 per week on 3 evenings, and he had so far completed 5 chapters. Dr. Harrison, the New York Amsterdam News commented, was a self-assured witness, suave and extremely literary in his answers. So weird. Did Amy want the $25 a week so that she could pay the ghostwriter to finish writing about Garvey? Because where is Amy getting $30 a week? Thus far, Harrison's testimony was damaging enough, and he may have gone no further. At that point, however, the suggestion was put to him that he might have been paid to testify. How do we not know that you were paid to testify, sir? He denied this allegation, but then was forced to admit the authorship of a handwritten letter which mentioned an offer of $100. Everybody's crooked. They tried to pay the star witness $100 to testify against Amy. Will you stop at nothing? Will you stop at nothing? Says, A flustered Harrison then reached into his briefcase and, perhaps by the way of retaliation against Amy's lawyers, handed Mr. Cohen, Garvey's attorney, several letters. Cohen placed one of these into evidence. It was a letter from Amy to Harrison, dated February 24th, 1925, a mere 2 weeks after Amy's commando raid on Garvey's apartment. My dearest, she wrote. Hold on. Cause you know, when the letter part come, I don't know, say I my part that. Hold on, they know. I can't. I think them have them beat. I think Garvey have Bob them beat. What do you think? So far, what we heard of Bob's story and what we hear of Marcus, which is Bob's come before him, who Bob looks towards. Who beat in this department? I think hands down is Marcus. For them thing is crazy. I did not reply to your missive air. This as I wanted to. You are a wonderful man, she says, and she could have dead in her arm. You are so fascinating and tender. Wait a minute, this is what she's writing to the ghostwriter? She says, I'm going to remain in America for 1 year, if I may, and I know it is going to be a blissful, happy, mental communion of souls. Lyrics. Maybe I have it, but perfect, the combining of one nature with tender impression. Lyrics. The meeting of their lips, and then, my girl said, climax. Oh, the ecstasy of it's truly an art. What is wrong with Amy, son? Dear, as soon as I can, I'm going to fix up a love nest. Not the love nest. Who's talking? It says she wrote. She wrote this? Not the love nest. Yo, Jed. Hear me? Hear me tell the man say, I am short of funds right now and must wait some development, but if I can get a loan of $300 for, say, 90 days, we would begin to live. So how's she buying him out? Is this why she was pressuring Garvey for the money so she could set up Love Nest? I know what you want, dear, a nice environment. Your 10 fingers and brain are worth millions. Between us, we could move the colored world. All we need is a start. If hard work and pluck has anything to do with success, we are going to succeed. Why is she wooing the guy? I know how you stand financially. Don't think I ever cared about that. I love you for yourself. Amy, what in the man produced the love letter, fam? After this revelation, Harris received an escort of a court officer on his way to the subway. He feared that Amy's friends might attack him. Wait a minute, son. I'm trying to figure out. It wasn't who attack. Oh yes, it's Harrison is Amy. Harrison is Hubert H. Harrison. He's the ghostwriter. Okay. For Harrison, this episode marked the improbable culmination of an erratic relationship with Marcus Garvey and the UNIA. In 1970, he had wittingly or unwittingly provided the recently arrived Garvey with his first break in Harlem. Can you imagine? Garvey addressed the 2,000-strong crowd assembled for an organizational meeting in Harrison's Liberty League. He was a big hit, stole Harrison's thunder, and never looked back. Is that why Harrison was in his feelings? Harrison must have been his feelings because they saying Harrison put Marcus on. Marcus steals his thunder, and then next thing you know, Harrison is over here with Amy after it all fell apart. Y'all needed to get a hobby. It says here, Harrison helped edit the UNIA's Negro World from 1919 to 1920, when he played a major role in the Garvey's movement initiation of the Harlem Renaissance. Thereafter, he fell out with Garvey And by should be a man scoring too, right? And by 1922, the government considered him a cooperative anti-Garvey informer as they built their case against Garvey for alleged mail fraud. Is that why he was up in the house? So he was a double agent. Wow, Amy, you got. Now with Garvey in jail, here he was ghostwriting a hostile biography and apparently the object, willing or otherwise, of Amy Garvey's amorous attention. Amy, however, now found out too late what Garvey already knew, namely that Harrison's support could be unpredictable and short-lived. The jury in the case found that both Marcus and Amy had been guilty of misconduct. The matter was then referred to equity court for the following week for a resolution of the question of who was entitled to divorce from whom. They're still fighting over how many years later. The matter was then referred, I already said that. The attorney for neither side seemed willing to risk defeat in equity court, and so they both agreed to adjourn the equity case, infidelity as it was to turn out. The result of this was that the main question with Amy had arisen all along, namely whether she was still Marcus's legal wife, was not directly answered. The status quo ante remained. Amy Jakes was still the legal wife until such time as some court should expressly rule otherwise. In prison, Garvey celebrated with a love poem. The man petty is a shit. The Love Amy later changed to the Love Amy, dedicated to Amy Jakes. But we already wrote, didn't you, was writing love poem already to the other Amy? So, I mean, this is what you do. And he writes, and I have won your love, Amy, the greatest treasure I can see. But you have been a light to me, a fond and dear and true Amy. So what care I for false friends when on your love I can depend? He gonna need it. He needed to write a poem because she over here swimming upstream. I think he was securing himself. Anyway, Amy Ashwood, when I stay along today, everybody, kind of. Ashwood and Marcus Garvey had several traits in common. You think? They were both excellent public speakers and organizers. Both were well-traveled. They were both endowed with charisma, for Amy too was able to attract a following, if even not as spectacularly as Marcus, wherever she went. One important trait that they shared was resilience, the capacity to bounce right back after adversity. And so Amy went right on with her life. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. Amy went right on with her life, doing new and exciting things and biding her time for the renewed assaults on Marcus and Amy Jakes. I'm going to start right there because, wow, that was a lot in 30 minutes. Just a few chapters, and Marcus sent a raid to Amy's house. They're back in court. She missed the date. They're still fighting. Them go catch Amy cock up with man. Amy, I write love letter. I try take alimony for mine, man. Amy, I boops. Amy, why are you mining the man with Marcus's money? Help us to understand. I'm going to open up the mic just for a quick second in case anybody has anything to say before I boogie. That's crazy. That is crazy. Oh my goodness, girl. You are doing too much. Let me know if anybody has anything to say before I boogie. But yeah, that's what's going on with there. Marcus gets her back by raiding her house in the same way that her failed. The only thing is he didn't fail. She failed on her raid, and then she tried to, stop number two. But Marcus did it, and this time he didn't fail. Can you imagine? Them come firing and just doing the absolute most. Imagine if you had actually put this energy into doing what you're supposed to be doing. Just imagine. Yeah, man. Amy, yeah, there was something going on with her, Jerry. I agree. I don't know what's going on with her, but definitely something is off and something is going on with Amy, number one. Like, this is not normal. And she don't look, the wild part is, like I said yesterday, she don't look like she can my chance. She look like she will give no trouble? Absolutely not. But yet here she is, right? So I'm gonna wait a few more minutes. I'm gonna run this commercial real quick, and then I am going to be right back with my closing thoughts on this situation. Well, we still have more to go, but you know what me I say. 74 grams of sugar. 74 grams of sugar per box. Wow. So if you was hungry after school and you got this box, or your mom got this box and you ate the entire box because you were busy playing, what is it? Twitch? Watching, whatever you were watching, and you ate this entire box, you would have eaten 74 grams of sugar. Yeah. I would like to ask, about how old are we? In the children teen category? Okay, so about how many teaspoons of sugar are we supposed to have a day? Teaspoons of sugar. How many do you think grams of sugar is the daily recommended amount for the day? You're feeling good? You're doing good? Are you famous? Am I famous? He wanted to know if I was famous. The good thing is we don't have to be famous to make an impact. All right. That's a little something I put together today. That's kind of what I do when I go out and speak with the children. This is a new part of what I'm doing because I find that a lot of children who are predisposed to a lot of the junk food that's already out there, then I have to speak to them where they are, And so it's just a way in which to teach them how to read labels, because even adults don't really know what the labels are really meaning, because there's a lot of information on there and it can be confusing. And so that's just to highlight some of what is going on with the campaign that we just launched. There's going to be more to come, so definitely stay tuned with that. Buana says, Apuna, you're such a teacher. Yeah, my main class, if it's a little or a lot, I'm gonna start on this and I'm gonna keep everybody up to date. But like I said, I'm transitioning into doing it more full time, and so I'm gonna be going out in the community and doing these classes, starting out with libraries and going from there. Sometimes the schools call me in. Right now the schools are on break, but sometimes the independent schools call me in and they contract me to come in, and then I have the conversation, or I teach them how to make a healthy meal or whatever it may be, the things that are missing a lot right now in the school system. So with that said, I don't see anyone coming up. I know you're probably taking a moment from all of the madness that is Amy number one and Garvey. We can't leave out Garvey, because Garvey is just as #toxic right now in this space as Amy number one. He's just as toxic because the both of them are going tit for tat, right? And so, with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and wind down. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to be on the road. So if you don't see our video, check in, make sure you press like and hit your little notification bell so you know when we go live. All right, then. Everybody have a blessed day.